Hey people, how's it going? Welcome to another video. It's been a while, forgive me. I know it's been a good few weeks. It might have even been a month, I'm not sure. Apologies for not releasing anything. There's been no rankings, there's been no reviews, there's been nothing apart than like a few skits lately. But, well, not really skits, but just weird little videos. Work's just been mental. I haven't had time to do it. My album's taking off. Well, I say taking off. It's creatively taking off. So I've been working on that. But anyway, enough delaying. We are here to count down my picks for the top 10 albums of this year. The top 10 albums of 2022. It's been a fun year. It's the 20th of December today, so we can pretty much guarantee that I don't think anything amazing is going to come up in the next 10 days. If it does, crack up. Yeah, it's a quick list. Some people are doing 10, some people are doing 20, some people are doing 40 Thralls of Metal. Saw someone do 22, that was cool, but I'm just going to do 10 because I do not listen to enough metal throughout the whole year to get anything pretty much more than 10. I might have done 15, but 10's a nice round number. So with that in mind, I think we just get straight into it. Let's go. So coming in at 10 is an album that at first I was a bit like, whatever. Like, it's there, it's cool, it's fun to listen to, and that is, but eventually I listened to it more than once, and it kind of grew on me, and that is Darkthrone latest album, Astral Fortress, which was released just before Halloween, I remember, October 28, 2022. The fact that Darkthrone put out a new album already, compared to, it doesn't even feel that long ago since Eternal Hails came out. But this album came out and I was like, cool, we love a bit of Darkthrone. We all love it and we all know it. But if you don't know Darkthrone, obviously they're pioneers of second wave black metal with the likes of Transylvanian Hunger, Blazing in the Northern Sky, Under a Funeral Moon, and all those famous names. But over the last, I want to say, let's just say 20 years, they're a bit up in the air in terms of what their style is. They're black metal, they're black and roll, what I call them. They're traditional heavy metal influences, crust punk, they're all over the place. This album sort of sits in the reign as what the last two were, both Eternal Hails and Old Star. It's like this traditional black and roll type stuff. It's black metal influenced, but just with more like a couple of black metal riffs, but most of it's like traditional heavy metal type stuff. It's really cool. Like I say, it grew on me. It's 7 songs. The first song that was released was Caravan of Broken Ghosts. That was that random lyric video, I think, of Fenris just walking. I'm sure it was Fenris just walking through a forest. Really cool. I didn't like it at first, but it grew on me. It's a fun album. It's nothing outrageously world changing about Darkthrone. Do you know what I mean? It's just pretty much, like I say, it's on par with Eternal Hails and Old Star. If you like those two albums, this album you'll like it anyway. But I'm sure by now, if you're a Darkthrone fan, you've already checked it out. So yeah, but there's some other fun ones on here. The Sea Beneath the Seas of the Sea of Seas, Seas of Sea, whatever one it is. Weird name, cool song. Eon 2, I quite like the last song, Eon 2. It had like this almost Maiden vibe. That's what I reckon. But yeah, it's a cool album. It's a simple album cover. You could say it's a bit of a simple album, but it's still Darkthrone. It's black metal and it's good fun. So yeah, number 10, Astral Fortress. Number 9 is an album that's quite different from the last one. This is a standard. It's a power metal album. If you know me, you know that I do quite like my power metal as well as the odd black and thrash stuff. But yeah, this album, number 9, is The Return of the Shadow from Battlelore. I did not know who these guys were when I found this album. I'm pretty sure this band just popped up on YouTube on the suggested videos, and I was like, look at the album cover, look at the name, and I was just like, that looks like something I would enjoy. And I wasn't wrong. Battlelore, The Return of the Shadow, it's a power metal album, but it's nowhere near like an extreme power metal album. It's nothing like Dragon Force. It's nothing like Rhapsody, but it's heavy and it's fun. And the song that made me keep coming back to it was a song called Elven King. There's a video for that. And the reason I love that song so much, it doesn't like break away the tie from what traditional power metal is, but like it was slower. It was like just a slowed a slow tempo song, and I was just like, it moved me in the weirdest way. I was like, because it's a power metal song. It's when you think about it, it's not relatable, but like it was sang really nice. There's beautiful female vocals as well as, you know, male vocals going on at the same time, kind of transitioning off one another. It was just such a nice vibe. And Homecoming as well was another fun song, you know, a bit faster. But yeah, honestly, these names, you can tell what this album's been heavily inspired by. The first song is called Minas Morgul, Hello. Elven King, you know, Firekeeper, Miramir, True Dragons, Shadow of the East. They're all great songs, and it's a forgive me. I don't know if it's a concept album, like in terms of story flow, because if it was, that sounds pretty plagiarized. But you know what I mean. It's a fun album, and if you like me and you like power metal, I would highly recommend this band, and I highly recommend this album too. I listened to a bunch of their earlier stuff while I was writing my second book of my second part to my massive story, and it helped me get through, you know, some writer's block, and it helped me get some inspiration flowing, and it really helped, and I played it a few times. It's a really, really fun album. I would highly recommend going and listen to it. So yeah, The Return of the Shadow, number 9. Coming in at number 8, believe it or not, is actually an EP. I've tried to not put EPs on this album, just on this list, purely just because it was, I don't know, you know, it's a top 10 album list, it's not an EP list, but at the same time, this little EP is awesome. This came out way back in February, I think, if I'm right, or March, something like that, way back at the start of the year. And I actually forgot about it. I found it on YouTube, I'm pretty sure, and it was just wow. And then it popped up again quite recently, and I was like, thank God that came back before I did this video. The album we're talking about is Piercing Through the Frozen Eternity by Moonlight Sorcery, I should say. Oh my God. More black metal, but wow, it's so melodically black metal. It's not funny. It's like I say, it's an EP. It's 5 songs. It's 24 minutes long, but holy damn, does it stand up to itself. I cannot say the first song. Unten Kutoya. I don't know what language that is. I should have probably looked all this up before I clicked record. Yeah, anyway, it's pretty much an opening track. It starts with wind and then a couple of nice symphonic noises, and then it goes into this absolute blitzkrieg of brutal black metal. But at the same time, beautifully musically sounding. If the vocals, holy damn, the vocals on this record are just wow. They are the most ear-piercing black metal shrieks I've ever heard, but not in a DSBM type way. It's just, this is going to sound funny, it sounds like an ultimate stress relief album for me. That's how I like to enjoy most of my black metal, but and the whole wintry ice vibe with it, just so good. And what makes it even more fun for me is the fact that the guitar solos in this album are just power metal wise. Do you know what I mean? Black metal isn't known for like 6-string sweeps and beautifully sounding solos, but my God, this album has it. Everything is go. Everything is just wow. The only thing I will, you know, critique is the drums. The drums sound a little bit tinny, like the snare sounds a tiny bit weak, but other than that, my God, it's 24 minutes of just pure gold. Black metal gold. Honestly, go listen to this album, and if it's not on your list already, I guarantee you it will be. Holy damn. Piercing Through the Frozen Eternity is just this. Holy damn. I'm so happy that I found this little EP again. For Thy Light is Ice is a great name. I love it. And it's such a fun song. Ice Veil Spell, the vocals in that are just, oh my God. Woven Hour is the longest song, and it's this nearly 8-minute it's like an epic, but it's a black metal epic. It's just, like I say, the solos and the voice, just goodness. Go listen to this album and you know exactly what I mean. Number 8 is Piercing Through the Frozen Eternity. Number 7, I'm pretty sure we're doing 7. Yeah, sorry, there's obviously I'm cutting in between takes. Number 7 is an album that literally came out on January 14, 2022. So it was like the first, you could say, brand new. It was the first new album that I heard of the year, and I put money on the fact that it would make it onto my end of year list. And the fact that it's not last is quite incredible. I'm not one for deathcore. like the high scream, like the Whitechapel type sound. However, I freaking love symphonic metal, and I can handle death metal, for the best of times. Number 7 is Shadow of Intent, and their latest album, Elegy. Oh, if you're familiar with this album, you understand my sigh, my exasperation when talking about this album. Oh my god, it is a weird mix of something that I love and something that I don't normally gel with, but put them together, they work so well with the additional vocals from Phil Bosman, who's from Whitechapel. I'm pretty sure he's from Whitechapel. That's why I dropped them in earlier. Only on is it on one song or a couple songs? I think it might be just one song. But oh my god, the drums on this and everything else, it's so, how do you say it? One thing, it's incredibly brutal. It's technical. It's technical symphonic death metal. Who knew that existed? I didn't know until I saw a post of this album and someone tagged symphonic death metal, and I was like, what's that? And boom, here we are at the end of the year, still talking about it. This song is just brutal and explosive and just, oh my god. And it's just a quest all through it. The drums are just going. It's just, wow. Farewell is a great opening. I love it. So Saurian King, I think is how you say it. That's a great song. The Coming Fire of Fury. Everything on this is just, wow. Everyone's playing. Everyone's musicianship is just so put together. And the production of this album just sounds fantastic. Like I say, everything is crystal clear. It's almost like a Dream Theater album in terms of how crystal clear it is. But the one song that was played over and over the top, I think it's in my Spotify Wrapped 2022, where Millions Have Come to Die. Oh, I remember driving to work listening to that song like all the time, and work was the place where Millions Had Come to Die. I was like, that's a fitting tone for the album. But oh my god, those drums, those vocals, those lyrics, oh my god. And the beautifully melodic solo that it's just completely separated from like the rest of how brutal the song is, and you get this nice, like, it's still shreddy, but it's just, like I say, it's just such a nice sounding album in terms of production. To people who don't like this stuff, it probably sounds horrible, but like I say, Phil Bosman's contribution on that song for Millions Have Come to Die, wow. Just, oh my god, go listen to that song if you're slightly interested in hearing what this album sounds like. If you don't want to listen to the album but you want to listen to a song, go listen to Where Millions Have Come to Die and you'll know what I mean. Honestly, it's such a fantastic album. Yeah, number 7, Shadow of Intent's Elegy. Number 6 is the Prince of Darkness's latest album, and that is Ozzy Osbourne's Patient Number 9. I had to include this album. I physically own this album, but I don't physically have it here. It's in the other room. I can't be bothered going to get it. Me and my darling wife, oh, she's not my wife, but she will be one day. We waited and counted down for this album when we found out that it was coming out, and my god, was it worth the wait. We bought it the day it came out, and we played it immediately. We got drunk to it. It was so much fun. Patient Number 9 is a fantastic Ozzy album. It's definitely, I liked Patient Number 9 a lot more than Ordinary Man, the album that came before it. Just because this album just feels like, well, for one thing, it's a lot heavier. It's a lot more heavy metal than Ordinary Man, and I think that was needed. The song itself, Patient Number 9, when I first heard that song, when that song was released before the album came out, I knew that already that this album was going to be better than Ordinary Man. Patient Number 9, the song, is better than anything else that is on Ordinary Man. Ordinary Man is still a great album, but that song just blew Ordinary Man away. Immortal, the second song. Oh, hang on, before I get into songs, this is an album that's just full of, what do you call it? Greatest hits, homages to, all, like, almost like Ozzy's heroes, or, because you've got Ozzy's heroes, Ozzy's friends kind of vibe, because obviously we've got Tony Iommi on this record. We know where he's from. Of course, the Black Sabbath guitar player, helping him become one of the founding fathers of heavy metal. You've also got, people like Duff McKagan's on here. Taylor Hawkins was on here. He's dead now. We move on. Nah, jokes. Rest in peace, obviously. Mike McCready's on here. and Robert Trujillo, Chad Smith. You know, it's just like, where did all these people come from? Eric Clapton's on here somewhere. You know, Zakk Wylde, Jeff Beck. It's a greatest hits album of like all sorts of influences, and that's what makes like all the songs sort of different. Like they all stand out, but you could like, if you know the influences and who they are, you can kind of hear who's on what song without having to be told. Like Immortal, the second song, I really love Immortal, and Parasite, which features Zakk Wylde. Parasite's a great song. Oh god, I was singing that song earlier today, and it's freaking awesome. No Escape From Now features Tony Iommi, and it's basically a Black Sabbath song. It sounds so much like Sabbath, it's ridiculous, and I'm a massive Sabbath fan. Sabbath, funny enough, were my top artist on the Wrapped this year. Very, I did not expect that at all. But yeah, One of Those Days has Eric Clapton on it. A Thousand Shades is Jeff Beck. Mr. Darkness is Zakk Wylde. Honestly, Dead and Gone, God only knows. There's some really great stuff on here. If this was Ozzy's last album, that would be perfect. I would not be mad. I thought Ordinary Man was a good one to go out on, but this one's even better because it's like, we know who I am, but let's look at who I was inspired by, kind of thing. Oh, honestly, Patient Number 9 is such a cool album and so much fun. And yeah, that's why that one beats all the rest at number 6. Number 5 is another brutal album, brutal heavy metal album. Again, this one came by surprise, you could say, because I'm a fan of this. Well, I'm a fan of the obvious band, but like, you know, I don't listen to them 24/7. This album, again, came out way early. This was February 25, all the way back at the start. And the fact that it's halfway, yeah, we're on number 5 now, and it's still there. I jammed this the other day, and I forgot how good it was. We're talking about Corpse Grinder's solo album, Corpse Grinder. So yeah, like I was saying, Cannibal, I've got a few Cannibal albums. I don't listen to them 24/7, but I don't mind them. They're okay. However, this album really weirdly made an impact on me. I thought it was really cool. It's quite, I wouldn't say it's not quite different from a Cannibal album, but you can tell it's not a Cannibal album. Does that make sense? I don't think it's as riffy as Cannibal's stuff is, especially Cannibal's later stuff, where the riffs are just like absolutely all over the neck and just make no sense in terms of like musical theory or whatever. I feel like Corpse Grinder's album has a bit more death metal structure to it, and it works. It's pretty damn awesome. The song, I heard the first song, Acid Vat, I heard that, and also the other one, On Wings of Carnage. Those two were released by themselves before the album came out, and I played Wings of Carnage all the time just for those double bass drums at the start. Pretty much why I loved When Millions Come to Die from Shadow. You know, just those just pounding bass drums there, man. That's absolutely wild. And then you know, you get past those two songs, and then you get into the other stuff like Death Is the Only Key. That's cool. But Crimson Proof, I think Crimson Proof's probably one of my more favorites after Wings of Carnage, just because it's got a real awesome, like, it's got a groove section in the middle. Not really groove, but it's got a groovy riff section, and honestly, it's a brutally quick album. You know, the longest song on there is 3 minutes 45, so like there's nothing fancy about it. It's not technical, it's not symphonic, it's just straight, you know, death metal. And Corpse Grinder doing a solo album worked. I really loved it. Obviously, it's number 5. But yeah, if you haven't checked it out, please do. Like, don't have to listen to the whole thing. On Wings of Carnage and Crimson Proof, go listen to those two, and maybe you'll see what I mean when I say you could tell that it's Corpse Grinder, but you could also tell that it's just slightly off from a Cannibal record. There aren't many, if any, I can't actually remember, you know, high squealy solos that Cannibal would do. But yeah, honestly, it's a fun record, and I would highly recommend anyone go and listen to it who just enjoys a good death metal time. So yeah, number 5, Corpse Grinder's solo album. If you're familiar, it's probably quite surprising that I didn't put this album at number 1 for my top list. Number 4 is Alestorm's latest album, Seventh Rum of a Seventh Rum. Again, I physically have this album, but it's in the other room, so don't worry about it. If you saw my review, if you've seen my reactions to the songs that came off this record, you'll know that this album was not my favorite by them. Like, from a long shot. I listened to all the singles when they came out. The only, like, the more I listened to him, the more faith I lost in the not the band, but in the album. You know, I heard Magellan's Expedition, the first single, and that was phenomenal. I was like, awesome, Alestorm are back. Yes, it's a pirate silly song, but it's a powerful pirate metal song, you know. And then we heard Party, and then I heard the Battle of Cape Fear, which, again, that's an epic name. The Battle of Cape Fear River. You know, I was getting ready for 1741, the Battle of Cartagena, part 2 type vibes. And then only to see that it's a 3-minute song and the chorus is I'm a fucking pirate over and over again. And I really lost hope. I was like, what are you guys doing? And then I heard Cannonball, which is just this absolutely stupid song. I just did not like it. I sat through the album and I was just like, by the end of it, I was very, very let down. And then I listened to it again a couple of days later at work. And then I put it on again. And then the more I put it on, the more it grew on me. And the more I was like, okay, I probably went in with the wrong mindset for this album. I wanted an album full of epic pirate songs, but I got a bunch of silly songs, so I just wasn't really ready for it, and I wasn't expecting that. So once you get over that fact, it's actually a pretty fantastic album. It's nowhere near Alestorm's best album, but it's still a good time. Other than the songs I've mentioned, songs like, I can't even say that one, Magiasrozag, the foreign one, it's about Hungary. Is that Hungary in Hungary? I don't know. That's a fun song. The title track is pretty okay. Bite the Hook Hand That Feeds is fun. Return to Tortuga is fucking dumb. I do not like that song. Come to Brazil is stupid and short, and that's great. It's a great time. And Wooden Leg Part 3, I actually did enjoy. Again, there's no epics on this album. You know, Wooden Leg Part 3 would be an epic, but it's not even 6 minutes. Is it the epic? It's the longest song, but, you know, doesn't matter. It's a cool album. It's fun, and yeah, the more I listened to it, the more it grew on me, and the more I was like, yeah, this album was fun. It's nowhere near their best work, but it's not dead last for me. It's like band smack in the middle. If I was to rank it, it'd be like 3 or 4. But yeah, number 4 we're gonna put as Alestorm's album. I love that this list is all over the place. Number 3 is Belphegor's latest album, The Devils, which was coming out on several different dates, and then it finally got moved. Did it come out in July? Yeah, July 29. It was coming out I think it was coming out in May. It was, I don't know, but it just kept getting delayed. But anyway, we finally got it, and wow, what an onslaught of brutal black and death metal this album was. I was genuinely, I didn't even click. I'm wearing the same shirt. I'm wearing their shirt. As you can tell, it's Belphegor. So what do we expect? We expect ultimate blast beats throughout the whole thing. It did not disappoint. It starts with the title track, The Devils itself, and just this real awesome, typical Belphegor way of starting. I'm pretty sure it's a film audio of, you know, the wrath of Satan has no mercy. Oh God, it's evil and scary, and just a blitzkrieg of absolute mayhem, literally. I did a review on this album if you want a real more in-depth opinion of it, but my God, it's so cool. Totentanz and Glorious Firang des Teufels. I love their language, I swear, but my God, you need a bit of practice. The first half of the album is great, but I really, really love the second half of this record. Virtus Ascenada, that's in my top 100 for the Wrapped. Kingdom of Cold Flesh, Ritus Incendium Diabolus, Creature of Fire. The more you get through the album, the more evil it becomes and scary, and it's just, by the end of it, you definitely feel like you've experienced something. It's fun. It's just this brutal onslaught of all things Belphegor and all things crazy. The guitar playing is ridiculous. The drums are groundbreaking. The solos are fun. It's just a great album. It was worth getting this album so delayed, like, you know, all the time, because when you finally heard that first note, it was just yes. Honestly, such a killer album, such a crazy album, but definitely one of the better ones. It's better. It might even, if I was to rank that, it'd probably go in the top 3, honestly. But yeah, Virtus Asonata was definitely the one that I thrashed the most off that album. So yeah, go listen to that song if you haven't heard anything from this album. But yeah, check out the whole thing. Check out the title track, especially, The Devils. Honestly, it's just such a good album. I swear to God. Number 3, The Devils. I can't believe this. Another album. This is number 2. Coming in at number 2 is another full-length album that came out on January 7. I'm not saying this album was full of this year was full of terrible releases, but obviously having this lot come out all in the first 3 months, I played it a lot and it made a massive impact on me. Number 2 is Power Paladins and their epic debut, I think, power metal fantasy release with the magic of Wind, Fire, Steel. I remember how I found this album. I was browsing Napalm Records just to see what was coming out. You know, I do that from time to time just to get a heads up on the pre-orders and whatnot. And I saw the album cover and I was like, what's that? And I played the album and my God, it is pretty much a 12 out of 10 album for everything that I personally enjoy about power metal. Pretty much like, you know, like all things power metal. It's fast. There's high-pitched vocals. There's cliches about dragons. There's key changes. There's just epic singing, epic solos. Everything about this album was green ticked from the start. It's more fun than, to me, it's, you know, it's up there with the Rhapsody. It's a poor man's Rhapsody. It's Dragon Force, just a bit slower. It's nowhere near as fantasy as the likes of Twilight Force, but my God, it definitely gets thrown into that pool. Look at the album cover, for God's sake. And the names of these songs. Craven the Hunter, which pretty much, if that's the right song, steals the Fear of the Dark riff from Maiden, but who cares? It works. The song that I thrashed constantly, Evermore. I loved Evermore so much. I still love that song today. It is the most typicalist chord progression ever. You know, is it ECGD, I think? You know, that real typical hard rock, heavy metal genre. But anyway, Dark Crystal, Way of Kings, Creatures of the Night, everything about this album is great. It's longer than most. This is 50 odd minutes. But please, if you like anything that sounds nice to the ear, Power Paladins' magic of Wind, Fire, Steel will definitely fill your cup of power metal needs. And I would highly recommend this album to literally anybody who likes anything that sounds good. You'll love it. Magic of Wind, Fire, Steel, number 2. So I've given you a bit of a mixed bag with my list. We've got black metal, sort of. We do have black metal. We've got death metal. We've got power metal, symphonic power metal. So who knows what number 1 could be, but I'll put your minds at ease. It's another fantastic power metal album. It's a symphonic power metal album. Visions of Atlantis, Pirates, my number 1 album of 2022. I was super stoked to hear. Well, again, I saw the album cover on a pre-order form on a pre-order page on Napalm or something. And I was just like, I love Pirates. I've heard of Visions of Atlantis. I've learned at that time, I've heard a few songs. That album's probably going to be amazing. And holy God, I was right. For me to rank this at number 1 is an understatement of how good it is. I reviewed it and pretty much sucked its dick completely. Like, I don't own it. I just haven't. I don't like buying stuff from Napalm because Napalm is so far away. But anyway, Visions of Atlantis are a symphonic, power. They're pretty much a second-rate. No, not second-rate. They're pretty much a Nightwish 2.0 with the whole female singer that often trades off with a male singer. They go backwards and forwards. Honestly, every member of this band is beautiful. They all do such an incredible job. This album was just so much fun. I heard the song Legion of the Seas on the internet, and I was like, that's a cool song. It's a bit simple, if you're comparing it to Nightwish, but that's okay, because once you finish listening to that song and you listen to the master that is Master the Hurricane, I was like, oh, here we go. It's got a great video. It's the third track, but it's like a 7.5 minute song. I love that song so much. Master the Hurricane is fantastic. Go listen to that song. If you don't care about the rest of this album, please check out Master the Hurricane. It's so good. Freedom is this beautiful harp-picked acoustic ballad thing about two loved ones who are about to like break away and flee. Are they in prison? He might be in prison, but he's like breaking away, and they're about to set sail together and set out on this beautiful life. Wild Elysium is this fast, upbeat single. You could say it's, how long is that song? It's 4 minutes, and it's just perfect. The vocals on here are absolutely phenomenal. Clementine does a beautiful job, as well as the bro, whose name unfortunately escapes my mind right now. I'm sorry, but you know, like I said before, they trade off these vocals together, and just it's just a fantastically fun album. It's like 45-ish minutes, but it feels like no time at all. Honestly, go listen to it. Visions of Atlantis, Pirates, for me, is probably the best album of 2022, and I will die on that hill proudly. Awesome as team. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me get real passionate about my top 10 albums of this year. Let's hope that 2023's albums are just as good, if not even better. I haven't looked at what's, coming out lately, so who knows what we're going to get. But hey, that top 23 will be much later. Let me know down below what your favorites were. Let me know down below the ones that you hated. Tell me the ones, tell me why you didn't like what you didn't like and stuff like that. Let's let Christmas go by before we get a bunch more videos out. I promise you I'll find a ranking to do soon. Like I say, Christmas is very distracting. But yeah, keep an eye out. Just real quick, again, thanks for watching, team. If you're keen to hang out for the next video, just keep an eye out for it. Keep refreshing the page. It'll come back soon. But until that happens, everybody, stay inside, stay safe. Wash your hands. I suppose I should say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and all that jazz. And I will see you all in the next video, which will probably be in 2023. So later, team.